Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video, I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of The Diamond Eye by Kate Quinn, and this is her newest historical fiction novel that was released towards the end of March. So I was super excited for this novel to be coming out. I'm a huge Kate Quinn fan. I've loved all of her books, and so this book was very much eagerly anticipated and probably one of my most anticipated new releases of the year. And this one is loosely based off of the story of a Russian woman named Mila. She has a very Russian name and I won't be able to pronounce it well, who was the most decorated and awarded woman sniper during World War II. She had mounted over 309 confirmed kills, and this kind of follows her story. We follow her when she, is younger. She is an aspiring historian. She's a graduate student. She is writing her dissertation, and when Germany invades Russia or the USSR, she enrolls right away and uses her training as a marksman to become one of the most decorated snipers in history. And so this one was really interesting. You can tell that there is a lot of embellishment of her story, and if you read the author note as well, you can see she took a lot of liberties. So Mila did have a biography that was written, that she wrote, an autobiography, but you can tell it was more like propaganda, and there's probably the propaganda version of the story and then the real story, and so you can tell that she kind of embellished some of this stuff, because some stuff, there's some inconsistencies and different things there, so you can kind of see that it was a lot of liberty was taken into changing this up, which I don't mind. I will say, I did really enjoy this book overall. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was just really well researched in terms of learning about kind of sniper combat. I thought was really interesting. I've never really read anything about that. I learned so much about the science behind sniper shooting, which I thought was really interesting. And I think the author did a really good job at showcasing the brutalness of the front, that the war that was going on, and just the experience of someone who have lived through this. I felt like the author did a really good job in here as well. There is this kind of post eventually, this you kind of know early on, where Mila, after she has become very decorated, she's used as kind of a propaganda tool, where she visits the White House and eventually befriends Eleanor Roosevelt. And while this is going on, there is a fictionalized kind of presidential assassination plot that is going on in here, and I felt like that one was just it kind of toed on the edge of being unbelievable. It did make for an incredibly fast-paced ending that was really exciting, but it was just borderline, where this is where I feel because even for the stuff that was made up in here, it seems like it could be real, and I feel this one was more yeah, this would never happen. So there was something that was a little bit too obvious in terms of just not happening, which is okay, I guess. It is a historical fiction, but it did make for a really fun ending. But yeah, I just I felt there was just too much embellishment. If you look at Lilac Girls or Lost Roses or Sunflower Sisters, which are actually again based on real people and events, that one I felt it felt more true, if that makes sense. It didn't seem as unbelievable as some of the stuff in here. And this book is very heavy on the romance as well. I would basically say there's a love square in here as well, which is a little bit crazy, and I was taken by surprise by it. But again, in the author's note, she does explain why kind of one love interest was split into two, because in her autobiography, there's no distinction between these two characters and whether or not if it was one person or two, so the author made them two different people, and then there's another person that's kind of thrown in here as well. So that made it a little bit annoying sometimes. I'm man, I should, I'm lucky to have a boyfriend. She had 3 people pining after her, but that part was a little bit kind of eye-rolly, but I did really enjoy the parts that were based on her story of her experience through the war, and then her also experience in friendship that she forms with Eleanor Roosevelt. I thought was really well done. I think this is probably like my least favorite Kate Quinn book. I still really enjoyed it, but I just felt like Mila sometimes was kept at arm's length. Like, I felt like I didn't feel the connection that I had to a lot of the characters in her previous work. Like, I just wasn't as connected to her. Like, I just felt like there was something cold and different, like just kind of, I was kept at arm's length from her. And again, with some of the unbelievable plots in here, it's still like a fairly decent, like I did give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I did really enjoy it, and I read it fairly quickly, but it's not my favorite, and I know that Kate Quinn can kind of do something a little bit better. So I will say, like, I was mildly disappointed, but I still really enjoyed this story. It is also interesting too to draw parallels with Mila's journey throughout the war in terms of where she was engaging in combat, because it is very similar to what is kind of going on now with the Russian invasion into Ukraine. So if you look at a lot of the places that are mentioned in here, like Odessa, Kiev, like all these places are experiencing war right now for no purpose other than one man's personal gain. And so it's hard not to draw parallels with what was going on, you know, in the 1940s to what is going on now. So I think that the timing of this was very interesting in terms of the release and just kind of everything that's kind of going on with world history right now. But overall, like I said, I did really enjoy this book. There were some parts that I was a little bit disappointed about. I do feel like it was a bit heavy on the romance, but it was a very interesting story. I think it's interesting how history has kind of forgotten Mila. I feel like, especially with even like the fighter pilots in Russia and their contributions to the war, like I feel like that is a forgotten part of history. So I really like how Kate Quinn has showcased these forgotten women, especially in this case here where it was based off of a true person. I thought was really well done. It's still a really good historical fiction, but not my favorite of hers. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you read this book, what you thought about it, and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.